Asking, how can this man who was convicted of 270 counts of murder deserve to be shown any compassion? Last night, Megrahi touched down back in Libya. This is what relatives of the dead did not want to see. Megrahi returning home to a hero's welcome.
Oh, my baby!
20 years ago, families of the dead grieved. Today, they are angry.
He was convicted of mass murder, a convicted terrorist.
Susan Cohen's daughter Theo was on Pan Am 103.
It was a plane full of young kids going back home to New York for the holidays. And she had everything to live for, everything to live for.
And this when the Libyan people can choose their own leaders, okay? But there's a long way to go between now and then, and what exactly are we willing to do to get rid of Gaddafi? The president has ruled out ground troops. They have not ruled out arming the rebels, as Steve explained. As a matter of fact, today Hillary Clinton said the UN resolution doesn't ban that. In other words, it's legal to do it if the allies decided to do it.
Who exactly the rebels are? There have been reports that there are al-Qaeda elements that are working with the rebels, if not leading the rebels,
This one again from the mailbag. This one from Patrick, who writes, another very simple and straightforward question. What happened to Libya's gold? Excellent question. Wonderful question. Extremely important question precisely because people who were following the NATO destruction and decimation of that country in the humanitarian love bombing of 2011 will know that at the time it was at least speculated that it was the 144 tons of gold sitting in the Libyan central bank vaults that were at least one motivating factor for that destruction. And lo and behold, then in December 2015, when a bunch of Hillary's emails got released via the State Department FOIA release, who would have guessed it? It turned out that was exactly right. Specifically, there was an email from April 2011 from Sidney Blumenthal to Hildog relating the fact that the Gaddafi's plan for a gold-backed currency was part of the reason for the bombing of that country, specifically quoting from that specific email, which I will link in the show notes, of course. Quote, according to sensitive information available to these individuals, Gaddafi's government holds 143 tons of gold and a similar amount in silver. The gold was accumulated prior to the current rebellion and was intended to be used to establish a pan-African currency based on the Libyan golden dinar. This plan was designed to provide the Francophone African countries with an alternative to the French franc. French intelligence officers discovered this plan shortly after the current rebellion began, and this was one of the factors that influenced President Nicolas Sarkozy's decision to commit France to the attack on Libya. So there it is in black and white from the horse's mouth, and more details about that email and what it means is found in a Global Research article. Hillary emails reveal NATO killed Gaddafi to stop Libyan creation of gold-backed currency.
Seen by our European friends and our Arab partners as very vital to their interests.
Well, those interests, of course, include, altogether now, oil. Libya has the world's 9th largest proven reserves of oil. And 90% of Libya's oil goes to Europe, primarily Italy, Germany, France, and Spain.
If we don't take all the rights, Al-Qaeda will get the rights.
You make the show possible.
God bless you. Oh, what does Tiny Tim say at the end of the Christmas story? God bless you, everyone.
Yes. Every one of us.
But that doesn't exist. Christmas doesn't exist. You're making it up. If you see a bird hopping around in a tree, it doesn't exist. Nothing exists but what the government says, John.
Yes.
If the government tells you you don't exist, you don't exist. You understand?
I don't. They know better.
And if I tell you 2 + 2 = 97, it does, or you're with Al-Qaeda, boy.
That's right.
So, there we go. We know there was 143, 144 tons of gold in the Libyan central bank vault at the time of the bombing itself. So what happened to it? Here is a fascinating story that flitted across the radar in May of...
Al-Qaeda in the Libyan opposition. What do you make of that?
Who exactly the rebels are. There have been reports that there are Al-Qaeda elements that are working with the rebels, if not leading the rebels.
Clearly what we've heard today in the fringes of this conference is the Transitional National Council laying out their vision for a democratic Libya.
You haven't answered my question with respect. I asked you what you make of the comments from the head of NATO, in essence, Admiral Stavridis, saying within the Libyan opposition they believe there may be flickers of Al-Qaeda. That's a very serious comment to make.
Who exactly the rebels are. There have been reports that there are Al-Qaeda elements that are working with the rebels, if not leading the rebels.
It's extremely concerning. I haven't, this is the first actually that I'm hearing of this comment and this statement.
That's my whole point, is that the New World Order...
You better, well, yeah, but don't burn them. Just go buy toilet paper with them.
United Nations with the
United Nations toilet paper. It's on sale. You ought to get some. Yeah, it works.
But the UN doesn't exist, Bob.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Well, I have people telling me that the European Union doesn't exist, and they're serious. Did you know it's still called a conspiracy theory to say that exists?
Well, look, you know as well as I do that 70% of the population of the United States is a bunch of idiots. You know that, and you'll never wake them up.
You know, I went to the gym yesterday to lift weights, and yesterday afternoon, was the morning actually, and I just watched the men, and I work out at kind of a old folks gyms. You know, there's some young people.
Well, you know, you're getting older now.
Well, no, I don't work out at a meat market, okay, because I just don't like the distractions. You know, it's just too many guys walking around going, "Ooh, boy, just looking for a problem." You know, puffed up.
You like to be the only one doing that and intimidate all the old guys.
Exactly. Right? No.
Okay.
Now you got it straight. No, seriously. I was watching the old guys do it. Everybody's posing and looking, and I'm just trying to ignore it and work out. But I just thought about these guys all act so tough. Everybody's so into their image, and nobody's going to screw them, and they're badass and all this. And you know, like men will like walk around a corner and you're trying to walk somewhere, and then when you try to get out of their way, they kind of go. I mean, it's really freaking weird. Anyways, the point is that, but they cower to cops. They cower to having their rights violated. They cower to bankers robbing them and stealing them blind. A real man gets really mad about being a slave and his children being slaves and corrupt elites. And then somehow we've been taught, let me tell you the truth, I'm having trouble being serious all the time. I am sick of the New World Order, aren't you, Bob?
Yeah, but you know what? It's kind of fun fighting them, you know? I don't have any trouble sleeping at night. I really don't.
But see, you're a real man. I'm not, and you're not a macho guy. You're not a guy that gets into being a tough guy. But your whole family, military folks, cops, people like that. And you're people that really do love America. So as a real patriot, you're actually fighting the New World Order. Not all these fake conservatives that, like I was talking about during the break, they go to the gym and they walk around looking at everybody and acting tough and swaggering. But if somebody's violating their rights, they literally start peeing down the side of their leg. If somebody pushes them around, if the IRS does something, they crap their pants. And they live this life of cowardice to government, and they rationalize that the government isn't corrupt, and the government isn't bad, and they cower in fear of what their neighbors would think if they were to come out and fight the New World Order. And we need you to be real men out there and real women, and just stop being so stupid, and stop. These good old boys will get mad if their neighbor parks in their parking space. But they could care less if somebody's putting sodium fluoride that eats holes in their brains in their water.
We found that there was probable cause to suspect the long-form birth certificate presented by the White House was fraudulent. You will also recall that we looked into the President's Elected Service form, and we believe that that form is fraudulent. This continuing investigation has uncovered new information that deepens our concern that the birth certificate document is a forgery. In the process, we have uncovered other serious concerns you will hear about today, which should be interest on a national level. The cold case posse has worked hard, long hours, even though they were stonewalled at every turn by officials in Hawaii and U.S. government agencies.